For over 2 decades, Counter-Strike has offered an elite competitive experience, one shaped by millions of players from across the globe.
One of the biggest digital economies in gaming just crashed. Almost 50% gone, from 6 billion down to 3. All because of one update. You can literally see the chart falling off a cliff. And the wild part, nobody knows how deep this goes. 3 billion is gone. Every few hours, the number keeps growing. We're talking about Counter-Strike 2, a game where skins and cosmetics have become their own stock market. People trade them, speculate, and some knives and gloves were selling for tens of thousands of dollars. And then Valve dropped a small update. Yeah, small. It let players trade 5 rare items for a knife or a pair of gloves. That one change detonated the market. Some skins dropped 90% overnight. Others jumped 3,000% because now the junk skins suddenly had value. The whales got hit the hardest. Collectors with inventories worth tens of thousands. One guy had 60 grand in skins. After the patch, down to 20, $40,000. Gone in a single update. And that's the risk with these speculative markets. When a company controls supply, your investment can vanish anytime they feel like tweaking the system. Valve makes great games. Steam's incredible, but they don't really listen. They never have. Even Gabe said it. Nobody's watching over their shoulder. They can change something at 10 a.m. and have a million angry players by lunch. Some people love the update, cheaper knives, more access. But for investors, it's a gut punch. It's a reminder. These skins have no real value. Only what someone else will pay for them. And if you're buying them hoping to profit, you're gambling with a company that can pull the rug at any time. People were panic selling, panic buying, calling friends like it was Wall Street in 2008. And of course, here come the crypto comparisons. Vitalik Buterin, yeah, the Ethereum guy, literally built it after World of Warcraft nerfed his warlock. He hated that a company could just take power away. That's what's happening here. But crypto wouldn't have fixed this either. Even in blockchain games, the devs still control rarity. They can mint new stuff whenever they want. So no, this isn't a crypto issue. It's a control issue. Billions wiped out, half the market gone. And yeah, it's easy to laugh at digital knife traders, but some people in China reportedly took their lives after this. Buff.gg, one of the biggest skin marketplaces, saw balances drop in half overnight. That's devastating. Behind every market crash, real or digital, there's a human cost. And Valve? I don't know how they recover trust from this, because now everyone knows. Their entire economy can be flipped overnight, and that realization doesn't go away. And here's the scary part. Those new knives and gloves flooding the market, they can't even be traded yet. Steam has a 7-day trade lock, so when that expires, prices might crash even harder. So yeah, that's where we're at. A full-blown digital crash inside one of the biggest games in the world. And the scary thing? It's not even over yet, because every knife, glove, and red tier item that dropped from this patch still has that 7-day trade lock. So imagine what happens when all of that hits the open market next week. Prices are already in free fall. But once those trades unlock, yeah, it could get even uglier. And look, I don't think Valve fully realizes what they've done here. This isn't just a supply issue. It's a trust issue, because overnight, millions of people learned that the market they've been building for 10 years can vanish with one patch note, one click. And that realization, it sticks. If you ever wondered what a digital recession looks like, this is it. People logging in to see half their inventory value gone. Collectors wiping thousands off their digital portfolios, and no one to call, no refund button, no safety net. Now, I get it. Some folks are celebrating. They're finally able to buy the skins they've always wanted. And sure, that's a win for casual players. But let's not kid ourselves. This market was huge. Billions in value, hundreds of thousands of people trading every day, and entire sites built around it. All of that shaken overnight. So, Europe's gaming CEOs are finally breaking their silence. And yeah, the EU's back at it again with their favorite hobby, regulatory shenanigans. The big question is this actually good for us? Or are we about to get screwed? Here's a quote that kind of sets the tone. Let's not kill one of Europe's few tech success stories. That came straight from the CEO of Supercell. Yup, the Clash of Clans people. And it's part of this ongoing war that's been brewing since April, when the EU dropped new guidelines for microtransactions. Now it's fall, the consultation period is ending, and suddenly the big players are panicking. And honestly, part of me gets it. Because yeah, let's be real, games have become walking slot machines. Half of them are designed to trick you into paying for shiny pixels you'll regret later. So in one way, sure, the EU stepping in sounds like a win. But the industry says these rules could ruin everything they've built. Supercell's CEO CEO basically warned that these new laws could destroy Europe's 27 billion euro gaming industry. They say it'll make games worse, not safer, and it'll break the free-to-play model entirely. So let's unpack this. And trust me, it's gonna get weird. The new law is called the Digital Fairness Act. It's meant to crack down on deceptive interface design. Basically, all the sneaky crap that tries to get you to spend money without realizing it. We're talking FOMO timers, fake discounts, the classic 90% off lies. All that manipulative stuff. The act also covers addictive mechanics and shady personalization tactics that prey on your impulses. It's especially targeting kids, but the rules would apply to everyone. This whole thing actually started with, get this, a Swedish horse girl game. Yeah, the EU got involved after a case against a mobile game called Star Stables. That's what kicked off this entire wave of regulation. The Consumer Protection Cooperation Network, catchy name, laid out new principles. Real money listings for in-game items, no fake currencies, mandatory refund options, and bans on FOMO tactics. Imagine that, a refund for gems. Shocking. Now, obviously, the industry hated this. They called it disruptive, claimed it could pull games out of the EU entirely, and warned it would harm creativity. Translation, it's gonna hurt our bottom line. 6 months later, and yeah, they're still freaking out. Supercell's CEO fired off an open letter comparing in-game currency to theme park tokens. You buy them in bulk, it's convenient, it's fun, nobody's forcing you. His fear is that the new rules could require parental approval for every single token used, like signing a contract every time your kid rides a roller coaster. And on top of that, every in-game item might need to show its real money value in euros. He says it'll kill the experience, that players will get frustrated, devs will lose money, and the fun will die. But the EU's stance is basically, cool story, but you've been overcharging children for cartoon gems for a decade. Time's up. Now, other big studios backed him up. Several European devs sent a joint letter to the EU, warning that the rules could backfire. They say it'll cause collateral damage, force studios toward ads or pay-to-win systems, and scare off smaller devs who can't afford compliance. And honestly, that last point is kind of valid, because this all comes down to one core question. Is in-game currency the same as real currency? If the answer is yes, then these companies are basically operating little unregulated banks. That means oversight, financial laws, crypto-style accountability, the whole deal. And that's exactly what the EU's Consumer Protection Committee thinks. If you buy gems, coins, or COD points with real cash, then yeah, that's real money in digital form. And it should have the same transparency and protection. Sounds fair, right? But implementing that would mean massive changes to how games work, legally, financially, and technically. It's like flipping the whole free-to-play model upside down. And the devs aren't wrong that the EU can be painfully slow and messy. Apparently, before all these guidelines dropped, the regulators didn't even consult with major trade groups or do proper impact assessments. They basically said, yeah, we'll figure it out later, which is peak EU energy. So now studios are arguing that 95% of kids already have parental supervision when buying stuff, that spending is actually going down, and that the EU is overreacting. They call it using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. And to be honest, there's a bit of truth there too. But then it gets even messier, because other parts of the EU disagree with the CPC. In Lithuania, for example, there was a case with RuneScape gold farmers. The EU Advocate General ruled that in-game currency should count as a digital product, not real money. So now, different EU branches are saying opposite things about the same issue, which, yeah, sounds about right. That's why the devs are so frustrated. They're like, we're trying to follow the law, but the law can't even agree with itself. And next year, when the Digital Fairness Act takes effect, they might have to redo everything all over again. And honestly, they're not completely wrong. It's chaos. But let's be real here, they're not saints either. Supercell's theme park analogy sounds cute, but if we're being accurate, their theme park would have 5 different token systems, 20 different bundle deals, and prizes that are basically worth nothing. And you can't leave without walking past 6 stores that sell limited time skins. It's manipulative by design. And when Supercell says, we don't need new rules, we just need to strengthen the old ones. Yeah, says the company that's already been accused of not following the old ones. So both sides have a point, and both sides are full of it. The EU wants to protect players, but implementation could be a nightmare. Big studios want flexibility, but they've proven they'll abuse it the second you look away. And the ones who'll really get hurt? Small developers. They don't have legal teams teams or compliance budgets, they can't afford to redo their monetization systems every 6 months. If regulation gets too heavy, the giants like Supercell and Ubisoft will survive, but the little guys won't. And that's how player protection quietly turns into corporate consolidation. Still, something has to change, because we're already at a breaking point. Games are becoming casinos, kids are being exploited, and everyone's pretending it's fine because it's just cosmetic. The consultation period for the Digital Fairness Act ends soon. This is basically the last chance for the industry to argue their case before the rules become law next year. They want to make sure they're heard, and fair enough, they should be. But they also deserve a good dose of skepticism, because let's be honest, they're not fighting for your rights. They're fighting for their revenue. And if they lose a few million because they can't manipulate you as easily, so be it. That's the cost of cleaning up a dirty system. So yeah, I don't know about you, but I've had enough of limited time offers, fake discounts, and endless loot boxes. If this law means fewer people getting hooked on slot machine mechanics, good. And if a few execs have to cry into their Clash of Clans gold coins, I think we'll survive.